What up, boxing fans? Gilberto Torres Jr. with Torres Boxing here. Hope you're having a great day, guys, and I wanted to go ahead and jump right into it. I want to talk about the official fight now that's been announced this week between Mikey Garcia and Jessie Vargas. So, as we know, Mikey Garcia signed a one-fight deal with Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing USA, which is going to bring his services, his talents to DAZN. If you don't have DAZN, check it out. You can go ahead and visit the link in the description box. You'll get a lot more information there. I don't want to get too into detail about it, but it's a great platform, guys. If you're a big boxing fan, I highly recommend it, and it's really the only way you're going to be able to see Mikey Garcia versus Jessie Vargas on February 29th of this coming year. So the fight was made official, and this is a fight that I had heard rumblings about for maybe more than a month or two. We've been hearing about a potential fight for Mikey Garcia with Jessie Vargas. Now, the fight is official, and you know, what do I think about it? I feel like it's a good fight. I feel like it's a good fight because both guys are solid names in boxing. You know, the fight is gonna be at 147 pounds, I believe. So it's gonna be at welterweight, and it's gonna be Mikey Garcia's second fight in the division. The last time he fought in the division was really a lackluster performance against Errol Spence Jr. That fight, I don't feel negative about it. It's not like, oh, I dislike Mikey Garcia, I'm not a fan of his anymore. It's not like that, but it did leave somewhat of a bitter taste in my mouth because I expected a lot more from Garcia. And I've always been the type of person, and you can look through my videos and I'll say it again, I don't like to be overly critical of boxers because at the end of the day, guys, these guys are fighters. You know, men and the women. They're fighters, and they have the bravery, the courage to lace up the gloves and get into a boxing ring and exchange blows with another person. That takes a lot of courage, especially when you consider how many deaths we've seen this past year, how many near-death experiences we've seen. You know, it's a serious sport, and that's why I don't like to be overly critical about them. I still want to always give these fighters their respect, but also maintain a balance between that and being a critical fan, because I'm still a fan of the sport. And Mikey Garcia did talk a big game prior to the fight. Now, I'm not going to really hold that against him. Why? Because once fight night came around, he did essentially move up 2 weight classes from 135 to 147. And it wasn't against just some other opponent. It was against Errol Spence Jr., who many regard as the boogeyman of the division and arguably the best man in the division. So it wasn't against some as some would call tomato can or inferior opponent to get his feet wet in the division. It was against the kingpin in the division, Spence Jr. So that was not an easy opponent for Mikey Garcia. So with that being said, the fight, wasn't a big fan of it. I was disappointed, but that's in the past. Now, my perception on Mikey did change just a bit, because after that fight, he really didn't follow it up with too much information or too much fire about his intentions to get back in the ring again. There was a lot of negotiating, a lot of business meetings with him and other promoters to see what he would do next, and I respect that too. I get it. You know, these fighters do need to maximize their profits and earnings. More power to them. But when I say my perception on Garcia changed a bit, I mean that because I felt like he became more of a businessman as of late, and I really didn't get that sense of hunger from him, that passion that he had before maybe the Spence fight, where it looked to me at least that he was truly seeking greatness. You know, he had just become a 4-division world champion not too long ago, and now was aiming at a 5th division title. You know, so I was really behind Mikey because I was like, man, this guy really wants to be great. And ever since his comeback after that whole legal dispute with Top Rank, this man is making moves, and I'm really excited about him. But after the Spence fight, that lackluster performance, and then that period almost, that was back in March, if I'm not mistaken, that fight. Yeah, March 16 of this year. So that's about 8 months ago that we went without really hearing anything new about his about Garcia and his team and what his plans were in regards to his ring career. So I kind of my excitement over Garcia died down a bit, but I don't want to let that linger in my mind. I want to just focus on the now. I want to focus on what's coming, and that's Jessie Vargas on February 29th of 2020, and it's going to take place apparently in Texas, the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco, Texas, and that's going to be a solid fight. Jessie Vargas, real quick, on the other hand, he's coming from a knockout victory over the veteran Humberto Soto. And Soto, of course, before that Vargas clash, he was coming off an impressive win against Brandon Rios. Now, I know that a lot of people say, oh, Brandon Rios is shot. Brandon Rios isn't a great fighter. But Humberto Soto, keep in mind that this man is a veteran. This man, just to kind of give you his record, his official record on BoxRec, 69 victories, 10 defeats, 2 draws, 37 of those wins by knockout. That's a total of 82 fights. 594 rounds of action, guys. This guy has a lot of miles on his odometer. And what impressed me about the Brandon Rios fight for Humberto, and I don't want to get too off track here. The reason I'm just mentioning this is because I want us to kind of just look at the type of fighter that Vargas was last in the ring with. But Soto's an older fighter, 39 years old right now. But the way that he was, that's why I love seeing experienced fighters, because they're able to, especially those that are able to understand their bodies and adapt their training to that. It really shows in the ring, and Soto was able to do that when he had lapses of where, yes, he looked fatigued, he looked tired, but he knew exactly when to let his hands go. And that's what really impressed me. He defeated Brandon Rios, lost to Jessie Vargas next, but that's a seasoned veteran that Vargas defeated. Not a great victory, but a good victory for Vargas. Before that, he's had a couple of draws. One against Adrian Broner and the other one to Thomas Delorme. The last victory he had was Aaron Herrera back in 2017. And before that, lost to Manny Pacquiao, which, no shame in that. That's the legend of the sport. But he's coming into this fight with a little bit of ups and downs in his careers in his last 5 to 6 fights. And this is really a make or break moment, I think, for Jessie Vargas. Jessie Vargas really needs to show out to remain relevant in the welterweight division. If he has aspirations for a world title, then this is a victory he really needs to get, because even though Garcia is coming off a lopsided loss to Spence, he's still a big name. That's the only loss on Garcia's record to Spence. Coming into this fight, this is going to be Garcia's second fight, so he should be a little bit more acclimated, and he's agreed to take this fight at 147. So that means that he's feeling confident about his chances in the weight division. If there was any sort of baggage that he felt, the added pounds in his first foray into the division, then him accepting this fight at 147 and deciding not to go back down to 140 or even 135 at least lets me know that he's feeling a little bit more comfortable in the division. So I'm expecting him to look better. I'm expecting him to perform better. And so Jessie Vargas defeats this version of Garcia, then that's a solid victory for him. For Garcia, on the other hand, it's also a solid victory because he's adding another solid name to his resume and getting a win at 147 pounds, a win that he desperately needs if he wants to remain relevant in the division, if he has any aspirations of getting a world title and moving further and deeper into the division. Otherwise, if he loses, yes, he could say, look, I just can't cut it at this weight, sure, whatever, he can go back down, but that's just another step backwards for him. So he needs a victory here. He accepted the fight, so I'm expecting Mikey Garcia to come into this fight well prepared and determined to get a victory. And Jessie Vargas, the same goes for him. You know, not necessarily a major crossroads fight for either guy. More so for Vargas, I would say, because this is the weight he's been campaigning at for most of his career, or at least a good portion of it, sorry. But still, it is a must-win situation for both guys, and at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to for in boxing, right? Everyone needs to win. That's the name of the game. You want to win. So we'll see how this plays out. It's a fun fight. May not be the big fight that people wanted Garcia to take, because either one of these guys could have taken different routes. Garcia, you know, I know a lot of people are, and myself included, want to see him face Vasyl Lomachenko, or others want to see him face Regis Prograis. So those are fights that are in the 35 and 40 pound divisions. Jessie Vargas, on the other hand, the big fight that I was interested in seeing, that they were talking about and that he was actually trying to get, was a fight against a former WBO junior middleweight champion, Jaime Munguia. Munguia had other plans, did not want to stay at that weight. You know, he's doing other things now, but that was really the big fight that was interesting, that was at least getting my attention, and that I would have wanted to see for Jessie Vargas, but none of those things materialized. And on February 29th in Texas on DAZN, we're gonna get Mikey Garcia versus Jessie Vargas. So let me know, guys, what are your thoughts on the fight? Who do you think is gonna win? Who has the advantage? And let me know in the comment section, guys. Also, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell icon to receive notifications on future content. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, support it, and thanks, guys, for everything. Thanks if you made it this far to the end of the video. Thank you. You guys are awesome. God bless you, and have a great rest of your day.